Yo, what's good, y'all? It's Justin Henry, Marcus Graves here. Tokyo Talk, we in the building, baby, and divisional round is here. You see, I'm decked out in my Niner gear, Marcus. One of us has to be able to put on our gear because I know the other one
Ah,
can't. After a crazy wild card weekend, Marcus, talk
yeah,
about it, bro.
yeah, man, it's a rough one, for sure. Sometimes you gotta just take it on the chin, man. Sometimes you gotta take it on the chin. Chargers up 27-0. I have no excuses. Gotta take my L like a man, and on the next year, baby. On the next year.
On the next year, man.
Already making moves.
Long ways away from the Justin Herbert MVP. Long ways away from the 14-3. What happens with this Charger team, man? Because they were up 27-0. Before we get into divisional picks for this round and talking about all of our picks, I really want to get your opinion, man, on this Chargers team because the framework is there,
Hmm.
right? There's a defense. We know this offense can be good at times. The coaching seems to be in and out. Like sometimes we look at Brandon Staley, we're like, man, he played well. They go and they fire their offensive coordinator. What's next for this Charger team, man?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, man, gotta get healthy. Gotta get your guys back. J.C. Jackson, Rashawn Slater. I don't think Bosa was fully healthy. Mike Williams, obviously. Like these are your cornerstone pieces, man. You got to get them healthy. Obviously, that's the biggest part of any championship team. And then this offense got to take the next step. I think firing Joe Lombardi, offensive coordinator. I think the offense man struggled a lot this year. Justin Herbert, I feel like was not unlocked in the way that we expected to see him. I think this team lacked speed. The run game was everybody talks about Austin Eckler, but as a runner, really, I think he underachieved, bro. Like you see all the touchdowns, but I don't even know if he had. I don't think he had 1,000 yards,
I don't think so
honestly.
either.
Yeah,
Did he?
like
I think he had 1,000 total yards. I don't think
total
he had.
yards.
Yeah, I don't think he
Yeah,
had 1,000 rushing though.
yeah. Like the run game is not there. So I think this offense needs to take the next step. Because the defense performed like how you expect a team to perform. They weren't like a top 10 defense, but they were top 15. They played well towards the end of the year. So yeah, I think the offense got to take the next step and get healthy.
Who's to blame for this loss? Right, 27-0. Everybody wants to say fire Brandon Staley. Everybody said the
Hmm.
defense gave up second half. If you're looking at this game, and I'll spit my piece on this in a second. But I
Yeah.
want to hear yours first. Who
Uh,
are you pointing the figures at in this game?
yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, there was a lot of plays that went on that you could first half. We get 5 turnovers and we kick field goals on 3 of them. The penalties, Joey Bosa had a bunch of penalties. In my personal opinion, I almost put it on Justin Herbert a little bit. I think as a franchise quarterback, one of those elite quarterbacks, you got to take over and like you see the game's getting out of control, you got to go make a play. You got to take over. You see Rodgers does it, Tom Brady does it. Guys like that. And I think in the second half, like 3 points is not enough. Although the defense didn't get any stops in the second half, the offense only scored 3 points. So
Preach it. Preach
yeah,
it. Preach it.
I
You
think
hear a
it's
Charger fan
yeah,
blame Justin Herbert. You know what?
yeah,
It's easy. And you know what? I think it's more of a complete blame. Like, everybody's so quick to be like, Justin Herbert, it's not his fault. He played well. It's Brandon Staley's fault, the way they called the games. The kicker's fault, he missed the kick. It's the defense's fault for giving up a 27-0 lead. They ain't scored no points. They scored 3 points in the second half. It's unexplainable. Like, you can't have that in a playoff game with the quarterback of Justin Herbert's magnitude. And to be real, like, I know Mike Williams is out, but Austin Eckler was carrying that first half. And to me, when I look at this Chargers team overall, there's enough talent for this chart. They should have finished that game.
for sure.
And when I look at Justin Herbert's season overall, we could blame the crack ribs. Keenan was out. Mike Will was out. Like, there's a lot of excuses that get thrown his way, but it's to me it was more of a sophomore slump. Like, I think he just had a slump season. Like, that's I don't necessarily, or third year slump, whatever the hell it is. I don't think Justin Herbert. I don't think he played at the level he should have been playing this year. Bottom line.
Yeah,
That's where I think it came down to, and that he needed to elevate his level of play. Brandon Staley needed to be better coaching. This defense needed to be better. This was a complete blame overall.
yeah, for sure. It's crazy because like we talk about third year slump. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. Third year slump, finished second in the league in passing, still we talk about some of these other guys, Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah.
like Justin Herbert had better numbers than all these guys, and that's how much we expect out of him as a quarterback. So I definitely think he needs to
Better
next
numbers
year.
did not equate to wins. Did not equate to wins.
I will. I mean, the Chargers had a better record than the Jags. Let's not do that.
True.
But
True.
in the games that mattered, Trevor Lawrence had a struggle in the first half, but he looked dominant in the second half. So gotta give him his props, man.
You're right. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. I just think Justin Herbert is not an elite. We crowned him a little too early. Everybody in the league crowned Justin Herbert as the guy that was going to overtake Pat Mahomes, be the next best thing. I think we crowned him a little too early. Can it happen? Yes. I just think it was a little premature. I just don't see it quite yet. He's got to prove next year is a big year for Justin Herbert.
For sure.
Like, if he can't take this team into some kind of playoff run, I will be questioning Justin Herbert more than I am right now.
Yeah, I think it was big for him to get into the playoffs this year. Because if they didn't get into the playoffs, then the questions really started to come earlier, and then the pressure starts to mount. And so I'm happy, the Chargers got in the playoffs. So at least they got that burden off their back. But yeah, man, I think a fully healthy Chargers team, I think there's no excuses for Justin Herbert anymore.
Well, let's move on to, we were talking about Jacksonville. Let's move on to this first divisional round game. Jacksonville and KC, they play, right? Obviously coming off a very emotional win for Jacksonville. Going into Arrowhead, where the Chiefs are fully rested off of a bye. This game, on paper, it's a 8-point margin there for the Chiefs. They're expected to win by 8. It's the betting line. But on paper, this looks like, Jacksonville has a chance, right? They've been playing well. They've been keeping into games. They've been in games they shouldn't have, and they played some tough opponents recently and found ways to win. So how do you see this game playing out, Marcus?
Man, I like Kansas City, but it could be, one of those trap situations where, first round bye, we see teams come out slow sometimes. I think Jacksonville learned something last week a little bit. I think there's a lot of that team, that was their first playoff game. Maybe had some little jitters and stuff, but I think they learned, man, like you got to start fast in these playoff games. You can't get behind. I know they can't get behind 27 up to the Chiefs. Like that can't happen.
Well, they didn't start fast last week and it worked out for them.
They did,
but the Chargers did start fast and it didn't work out for them.
But that's very uncommon, uncommon. Yeah. And I think that's something that they'll probably be talking about this week is we can't start slow against this Chiefs team. So if Jacksonville gets off to a fast start, you never know, man. Things can happen in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, I still like Kansas City to win this one.
Yeah, this is, I look at the teams coming out, and obviously teams off of a bye, a lot of times they do tend to start a little bit slower. I think this Chiefs team is ready, though, man. The reason why is because the way that this Chiefs team's been operating all year hasn't been like, through one specific method. They've used the run game. They've used multiple people in the run game. They've used the passing game. They've used multiple people in the passing game. The defense hasn't been elite, but they've been able to force turnovers. So when I look at this team, I'm like, what's really their weakness? Like, if Jacksonville was to key in on something, it's not like they're going to get a tremendous amount of pressure on the Chiefs because the Chiefs deal with pressure well. It's not like their secondary is elite. And they're going to just force a bunch of turnovers. I'm trying to see the win for this Jacksonville team. To me, unless Kansas City just comes out and Pat Mahomes is throwing interceptions, they're not taking care of the football and fumbling, I don't see how this isn't a blowout for the Kansas City Chiefs. Very high scoring matchups. I think I'm going like 34-20. 34-20 Chiefs.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think for Jacksonville to win, I think it has to be a low scoring game. I don't think they can come and beat Pat Mahomes in a shootout. And I think Trevor Lawrence has to have one of the best games of his career ever. Yeah.
That's the one thing about him. Even during this streak that they've been on, he's been turning the rock over. Yeah. Like, even if it's not interceptions, it's been fumbles. So that kind of concerns you with the team that thrives off of turnovers. We talk about KC. Like, if you give them a turnover, that's 14-point swing most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think, we'll see what happens. But Jacksonville's got to break it this week for sure.
What's the score prediction?
Man, I'm gonna go 35-24.
35-24?
Yeah, 24 Jags.
I like it. Yeah. All right, on to the next game Sunday night. This should be a good one, man. Another team coming off of a bye. Philadelphia Eagles hosting the New York Giants in Philly. This Giants team, man, kind of a very similar situation, man, where the Giants are playing well as a late start. You know, they started off strong, had a lull, then they played well, or playing decent, I should say, towards the end of the season. And then same thing kind of with Jacksonville, going up against the team with the bye. So the hot team against the rested team. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, man. Giants team's playing good football right now, and Brian Daboll has got Daniel Jones playing at a max quarterback type level.
Bro, he threw for 300 last week.
Daniel Jones about to get the bag this summer, and he has Brian Daboll to thank for it. That's another conversation that, you know.
Yeah.
Do the Giants keep Daniel Jones? I don't know.
You think they do?
I mean, is it a long-term contract? Like, I think I'd be comfortable giving him a 2-3 year contract, but I can't give him 5.
Like, he's not a franchise guy.
Well, he might be. Like, we see the
Daniel
coaching.
Jones is not a franchise quarterback.
He might be, though. He's playing solid. He had a really good year this year.
Without the receivers.
Without any receivers. And 1 year of good coaching, like, I don't know. He might be.
He's got him here in the second round.
Yeah. And you gotta think, like, when you look at Daniel Jones' career, man, his turnovers has gone down every single year he's played. So he's getting better. I wouldn't put him in that elite passer category, but as a dual threat passer runner, he might be cracking the top 10 soon.
Oh,
he might be.
No way.
He might be.
Well, he's got to beat this Eagles team first, or at least put up a good fight, man.
Yeah.
You think he does?
I think they put up a good fight. Eagles team, it's crazy, man, because they haven't looked good the last couple. I know Jalen Hurts has been out, but I kind of like to have this momentum this Giants team's playing, and I think I'm rocking with them this week in Philly. Division game, so obviously they're familiar with each other. And this Giants team's got the momentum, so I think I'm rocking with the Giants this weekend.
The Giants, man, they feel like one of those teams. Like, we've seen the Giants in the past. When they get hot, they go on them long runs, them long playoff runs. Normally, it's Eli Manning there, but Daniel Jones, man, I think the way Daboll's unlocked him with his legs, right? The way he's been able to use his legs. He had 70 yards rushing last week, 300 yards passing, which is crazy. But against this Philly team, this Philly defense is tough. And I do think they come out, if there was going to be a team out of KC or Philly that started slow, it's Philly. Like, they haven't been playing a whole lot of games fully healthy together in the second half of the year since Jalen Hurts has been out. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's been out. Like, there's been a lot of injuries for this Eagles team. Lane Johnson, we don't know if he's fully back, ready to go. I think that the Eagles will come out slow, and this Giants team will make it interesting. It's a division game. But at the end of the day, Philly will win. I think they persevere. This will be one of those close games that they pull it out. But I can see the Giants keeping it very close. And Brian Daboll, with what he's done with Daniel Jones, I think this might be one of those tests. Can Daniel Jones get you over the hump? Mm-hmm. Is he the kind of quarterback that can make something happen? Because if he's just a system quarterback, or, you know, he's more of a game manager, that's not what this Giants team needs to win a Super Bowl. Long term, if you sign a quarterback, they got to have a chance at a Super Bowl. And this is where Daniel Jones, this game is very, very important for Daniel Jones.
If Daniel Jones wins this game this week, we're talking 5-year contracts.
Yeah.
We're talking $250 million contracts now. Like, Daniel Jones will be playing himself into a big bag if he wins.
Depending how he plays. Because we've seen Blake Bortles. You know, I ain't going to say Blake Bortles is Daniel Jones, but we've seen players play well and get their teams to the championship game off the back of the run game and the defense. Daniel Jones did that. Last week against the Vikings, he did that. Yeah. This week, he has to do it against a much, much tougher defense.
For sure. But at the end of the day, they care about the wins and losses, man.
Wins and losses, that's all that matters. Yeah. Speaking of the wins and losses, a couple teams that were on the ropes last week, the Bengals were a dumbass Tyler Huntley decision away from being eliminated. Man. And the Buffalo Bills saw the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson come all the way back on them. Now, Cincinnati Buffalo, man, obviously they were going to play a couple weeks ago. It didn't happen. The stage is set for the rematch in Buffalo this time. Marcus, how do you see this one playing out? Because I got an opinion on it, but I want to hear yours, bro.
Oh, man. gonna be a good game, bro. Since he and Buffalo both didn't look great last week, I was more concerned with Buffalo a little bit just because I think the way Josh Allen is just playing so crazy, bro. Like I understand he plays free. I understand he's got a lot of confidence in himself, but in the playoffs, man, he was just so. I feel like he was so reckless with the football. Um, and the way this Bengals, obviously, both teams are riding 8+ game win streaks. This Bengals team, man, there's something about them in the playoffs, man. Like they have no weakness. The run game is strong. Joe Burrow has all these weapons. Defense is playing a little bit better. This Bengals, I think I'm rolling with Joe Burrow and the Bengals in this one.
Oh my gosh, you said no weakness. Now
What's
when I
their
look
weakness?
I feel like their weakness is what we saw last week against the Ravens. If you can get pressure on these guys, it flushes Joe Burrow a little bit for that passing attack, right? And we saw a couple linemen go out for this Bengals team too. So I'm very concerned about this Bengals team. And it wasn't like they had their foot on, they had control of that Ravens game at any point last week. It was the Ravens kind of handed them the victory at home. They were in Cincinnati. Whereas for the Buffalo Bills, it felt like they got out super early, 17-0. We were like, oh, this game's about to be over. I know in my head I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a rout. It feels like they let their foot off the gas, which is kind of what we were talking about for these first round bye teams in Philly and Kansas City. Like there's just that first playoff game. The Bills are looking ahead to a Super Bowl run, probably like, Dolphins ain't shit. Mm-hmm. But then this week, it's at home. We already know who's going to be on the sideline. DeMar Hamlin's going to be on the sideline, giving them that extra umph. And with just the offensive line injuries for this Bengals team, I see this being a major blowout for the Bills.
Wow.
Like 10+ points.
This is my concern with Buffalo, man. That defense is kind of taking a step back the last couple of weeks. You look at, we talk about the Bengals and how the Ravens got a bunch of pressure on them. Like both were division games, Bengals, Ravens, Bills, Dolphins. And I kind of expected to see what we saw in the Bengals-Ravens game, where it was tough-nosed football, 17-17, and one play could swing the game. Man, Skylar Thompson should not be putting anywhere close to 30 points on the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. And that's why when I look at Joe Burrow and this Bengals offense, I think, like, if Skylar Thompson is doing that and had that much success in the run and pass game, I don't know. Who knows what Joe Burrow and this offense can do? Like, that's where my concern is.
If this line can give Joe Burrow a little bit of pressure, I think you're right. There'll be an opportunity where Joe Burrow will have an opportunity to like even backdoor this thing, like make it to where it's close last drive. Like he'll have an opportunity, but if this offensive line is trash, which is what I think it'll be, I don't see a way that this Buffalo team loses at all. I think it's gonna be a blowout.
The Bengals are taking note too, man. They've been talking about the disrespect about NFL selling AFC Championship game tickets already in Atlanta. I know they have to do it.
They have to.
They have to. But Cincinnati's looking at that like, they're taking that as disrespect. So that's a little extra fuel to the fire.
I wonder why they're taking it as disrespect, because they know they're not going to be in it. They know they're not going to be in it.
Maybe they know there's not going to be no championship game in Atlanta.
Ooh.
Maybe. I don't know.
This is probably going to be the best game of the week. Actually, this is going to be the best game of the weekend. Dallas and Niners, baby. You know what? I am very concerned. I'm going to go first on this one. As a Niner fan, I would love to be like this. Our team is rolling. We're at home. Handled business against Seattle in the second half last week. We're good to go. I would love to think that. But I'm nervous playing Dallas because we talked about this team before. When they're good, they're a damn good football team. And when they're bad, they're terrible.
Yeah.
We saw the good last week in that Tampa matchup. And Dak taking care of the football equals a very good Cowboys team. Mostly all three phases outside of Maher missing all them damn field goals. Sheesh. But if he's on, this team is good in all three phases. And defensively, if Micah Parsons is healthy, he's a menace. So I'm looking at this as I think this is going to be a very close game with the Niners having an opportunity to win. I'm not counting out this Dallas team, but I got to take my boys in the matchup. Give me the Niners.
Yeah, no, I like the Niners too in this one. I think it's going to be a close game though, and I think the difference could be, those Dallas fans travel.
Very well.
This is not gonna be just some home game where Niner faithful is gonna be taking over. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be in the 60-40 range of fans.
Maybe
Um,
more.
but I think the Niners' best chance this week. Obviously, Brock Purdy's got to be solid, but I think this defense has to attack Dak. They got to get pressure on Dak, force him into some turnovers. Force him into what we saw the last couple weeks of the regular season. And I think that's going to be the Niners' success this weekend.
What about Brock Purdy? Because
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, during this little win streak since he's been the starter, we ain't really played nobody. It's been like Seattle's and like the Raiders, and we haven't really played anybody substantial, the Seahawks. But what about this Dallas team? This is probably the best team that Brock Purdy's faced. No pressure in his face all season. Hasn't been sacked a whole lot. How do you feel about Brock Purdy leading this Niner team right now?
No, I think, man, I don't think it really matters what team they play because I think the Kyle Shanahan, scheme is going to help Brock Purdy in the end. Kyle Shanahan knows, the Dallas strengths and weaknesses of that defense. He knows not to go up Michael Parsons. He knows Trayvon Diggs on the edge. You can hit him with some double moves or hit him, attack Trayvon Diggs. I think Brock Purdy has to be solid, bro. Just how he's been. He doesn't have to do anything more than what he's done. It's not like they expect him to carry this team to the NFC Championship. I think you just play through, Christian McCaffrey, you play through Debo, George Kittle, and just don't expect Brock Purdy to make some crazy plays.
So, give me a scenario. I want you to tell me if you think Brock Purdy handles the job or if you don't think he's ready. Scenario. Dallas Cowboys come out on defense. Scoop score. The fumble. Something happens. There's a fumble on the opening drive for the Niners. Dallas gets a return touchdown.
Yeah.
Niners get the ball back. Maybe go 2 drives. Have to punt it. Dallas comes down, scores on the first offensive possession. The Niners are down 14-0, and Dallas gets the ball at halftime. Is this something that Brock Purdy can come back from?
I do think so. I think so just because I think this Niners offense can explode. We've seen a couple weeks ago, I think it was, who did they play? Who was the last regular season game they played?
Last regular season game we played. Why can't I think of it right now? Was it like
anyway? It was like a 13-10 game, and out of nowhere it's 40-14. Like this Niners offense can explode out of nowhere. Christian McCaffrey, like I mentioned, Debo coming back was a huge addition. So I do think they can come back. I don't think that's the ideal situation, obviously.
Right.
But I do think Brock Purdy is capable of coming back from a deficit.
That's just the scenario we haven't seen yet. So we talk about like a floor with most quarterbacks. So like, we know what good Dak looks like. We know what bad Dak looks like. We know what great Brock Purdy looks like. Last week throwing for 350 yards, whatever it was. But have we seen the floor with Brock Purdy? Is the floor 202 touchdowns? Like, is that bad Brock? Or have we not seen it yet? So my concern is that if this Dallas defense does get some pressure or forces a couple turnovers on Brock Purdy, what's the demeanor? What's the process look like for him,
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Brock Purdy necessarily hit any adversity yet, which is, I think, kind of what you're alluding to. Like, how is he going to respond? So it's interesting, man. Like, if he comes out and, scoop and score, throws a couple of interceptions, like, how is he going to respond in these situations? And we haven't seen it yet. So that is something to take into account.
Got to take into account, man. Either way, it's going to turn out to a Niners win, baby. We're going to be moving on. So you're 4. You got who you got moving on?
I got KC. I got Cincinnati. I got San Francisco. And I got the New York Giants.
Oh, okay. So we differ on the Giants. I got Philly and Buffalo. I got all the favorites this week. I don't like having all the favorites, but I got all the favorites this week.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if I wasn't on a favorite, it'd be Dallas. Scary to say.
Yeah, Dallas.
It's scary to say. I'm concerned about this one, Marcus.
As you should.
All right, let's get into a little hoop, man. So let's get into a little bit of hoop, man. And the Lakers, bro. LeBron's been playing at a crazy-ass level. Year 20, he's averaging damn near 38-8, whatever it is. Like, I did not see LeBron playing like this year 20. I don't know what I expected. Like, I've always thought he's been the GOAT for me over the last few years, and I know that's debatable with MJ and whoever else you want to throw in there. But he's always been the GOAT to me. I never saw him playing. I think I could see it, but I didn't expect him to be playing at this level. Coming into year 30, about to break the year 20, about to break the scoring record, bro. Like, This shit's crazy what he's doing at 38 years old.
For sure. No, it's crazy, man. It's like it's almost like we're not appreciating it still. Like
Yeah.
people still aren't even appreciating what LeBron's doing in year 20, 30. I mean, I don't know when he's showing no signs of slowing down, bro.
None. We don't. How are we not like? That's the thing is that people are like, oh, what LeBron's doing right now is longevity stuff. That's part of the fucking game.
Yeah.
That is part of the game, dog. And like, I think when you look at overall body of work for a career, when he walks away from this game, we're gonna be like, this dude really played like that until he was at almost 40?
Yeah. No, for real.
This dude really, we were really expecting him to go and be top seed in the West, win a championship. Like, the expectations for LeBron are crazy right now.
They're crazy. And it's like we're underappreciating it. Like I said, like we're going to look like our kids are going to look back in 20 years and be like, damn, you're 20, he was getting 30? I'm in year 4 right now. I'm like, damn. I'm like, my knees and my back is hurting, man. Like, yeah.
Like, I think that's just crazy. And then to get the scoring lead, he's like, I didn't even try to get the scoring lead because he hasn't. He's been a passer most of his career, like normally using his teammates to try to win games. And it's like, he's still going to lead the league in scoring, probably be top 5. I think he's already top 5 all-time assists.
Yeah.
He'll be up there in rebounds. I know he leads the league in turnovers or whatever it is, but incredible career for LeBron James. Now, he's in year 20 with this Laker team. And there's a lot going on, man. There's been some talks about, is Pelinka really sabotaging for the Russell Westbrook move? Is he sabotaging the Lakers and not trading for any pieces? What do you think is going on with the Lakers organization right now?
Oh man, I don't know what the deal is with the Lakers organization or what the roster construction or what it is, man. But like, it's like what's the plan for the Lakers? What's next? Like. So reports are we don't want to trade the 25 first round pick and the 27 first round pick. So then like what's the overall goal? Are we trying to make the playing game and that's it? Because at this point, bro, as crazy as to say, if Pelinka is playing for the future, we might as well just trade LeBron and AD. Like what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like Pelinka's we're not making no deals. I'm saying we like I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
There's
you could be an honorary Laker fan for this one.
No deals being made, no help for LeBron. Like this team is not a playoff team as currently constructed. I
don't know about that. They're only a game and a half out of the play-in, right? Out of the play-in.
So is that the goal?
Well, if you think about it, this is no AD right now. The team isn't a great team. Let's just be real. Like this Laker team is not great. But they're straddling because you got LeBron. If AD can come back before the All-Star break, that can be a playoff team. Now, championship team, I don't know. But as constructed, that can be a playoff team. Now, what do you do in that scenario? Because if you go and you trade away the 25 and 27, you know LeBron is only on a 2-year deal. You know AD is fragile as hell. You know Westbrook is probably going to be the piece that you have to move. And he hasn't been playing too bad off the bench. What do you do in that situation? Because it's like you either go for the championship this year on the hopes that AD is healthy, or you just ride it out and Westbrook's out of there. LeBron is probably out of there next year, and you do have to build for the future.
So that goes back to my point. Like, what's the? Are we just hanging on and just gonna ride out this team? Like, and another thing is people keep talking about AD's out, AD this and that. Like, so AD is the only key piece to either being a playing team or not a playing team. Because you look at these other teams, you look at the Warriors, Steph is out, and this team still playing good basketball. The Grizzlies, when Ja Morant was hurt, they're still winning games. Like, is AD the only reason this Lakers team
AD's a top 5 player when he's healthy.
You can't tell me that a team with LeBron James on it shouldn't still be a top 5 team in the West.
They only a game and a half out of the play-in. To me,
come on, bro.
And the West is tough. You got to give the West some props, man. The West is tough right now. And to have no AD, this team was built around LeBron and Anthony Davis. No matter how you flip it, those are the two cornerstone pieces. And if you're missing one of those, it makes this a completely different team, unfortunately. Like, this isn't a Boston Celtics team or a Milwaukee Bucks team or hell, even a Warriors team. And they're down at the bottom right now. They're in the bottom half of the Western Conference. When you got a team that's constructed on 2 players, and one of them's gone, of course you're not going to look as good. To me, with AD, this team was making a run. And to be only a game and a half out without AD, if he can come back and this team's within 3 games of the playing spot, I wouldn't want to be a Memphis Grizzlies and have to match up with the Lakers first round. I wouldn't want to be a Sacramento Kings and have to match up with the Lakers first round. Like,
no way.
These teams don't want to see the Lakers if they're healthy.
No, I agree with that. But my thing is, like, in just the way that, like, this team, there's a lot of guys on this team, no disrespect to anybody, that, like, shouldn't be in a lot of these playoff rotations. A lot of these guys that are playing right now on this Lakers team are not rotational guys and on playoff teams that we've seen over the last, couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's my thing with, like, are we playing to get in, or are we playing to, make an actual run at a championship?
We'll see with this Lakers team, man. And, I think one of the players that they'll have to go up against if they get in, they'll probably be a Memphis match. I think that's like the matchup. Memphis Lakers. That feels like that's at some point it'll be there. Star power will be there. Ja Morant's kind of taking over the league, man. And what's been crazy to me is these dunks we have been seeing from Ja Morant, bro, at 6'2".
Yeah.
How the hell does he jump like that, dog?
Playing on that concrete, man. Playing on that concrete.
You got them strong ass knees.
Strong knees and them legs, man. Like, you jumping on that concrete. I'm telling you, it's different, bro.
So, as somebody who plays, what do you think about Ja? Because to me, on the outside looking in, when I look at like typical roster construction, point guard scoring, being your main scorer, your main facilitator, undersized point guard, I would say, undersized guard being your main source of offensive output, your key hog. I don't think you can win a championship like that unless you have a very strong number 2 supporting piece. That's you got a stretch for somebody that can carry another 20, 25 points. If Jaren Jackson develops into that, cool. But I don't see it right now from this Memphis team. I don't see this as a championship team. Do you think Ja can lead this Memphis team to a championship?
I think he can. Not as is, though. I don't think he can as is. But I do think they are one piece away. I think he needs nothing against Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson, but in crunch time, playoff time, like, you need a guy who can get an ISO bucket. A second guy who can get an ISO bucket, and I don't think that's those guys. So I do think Memphis is one player away. I don't know who that player is. I don't know how, what trade or what, signing they can make. But I do think to win a championship, they're about one piece away still.
Do you think that Ja Morant, and this isn't meant to be as a disrespectful comment, this is just talking a little bit of hoop, do you think you can win with the style of play out of a combo guard like that, like a Ja Morant, like a Donovan Mitchell? Can an undersized guard be the main? We saw with Allen Iverson. Like, can that kind of player be the main player on a championship team in your opinion? Like,
I think so. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like Ja's style of play has to change in the playoffs. Like, it's not like we're looking at I always bring it up, a Rudy Gobert situation where the playoffs, like, he's going to be exposed. We've seen Ja have success in the playoffs with the same style of play. I think it's just, at the end of the day, this team, when the double teams come and they really force Ja to, like, get off the rock, I think that's when we got to see somebody else step up. And I'm not convinced that they have somebody on that team that can step up in those big situations.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about this Memphis team. If I look at the teams in the West, they're not one that sticks out to me as a title contender. Even though they're going to be first or second in the West coming out of the playoffs again, I just don't see them. It kind of reminds me of the Jazz team, where it's just you don't have a second closer on the team, like you mentioned, just another option in a conference that is pretty deep and filled with, like, superstar talent.
Yeah, and I don't think, like, I didn't want to make it seem like they need to get rid of Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson. Like, these are really good players. I'm just saying, we're talking, like you said, closers, like guys like Ja can give the rock and feel comfortable in an ISO situation. I don't think they don't have another guy on that team that I'm confident in that can do
when
that.
KD was in them rumors, they should have been all over that.
Yeah.
They should have been all over that. Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, and a couple firsts for KD. They should have been all over that, dog.
Yeah.
Because that would have been the perfect pairing.
That would have been a crazy pairing for sure. But I think they would have had to give up too much. Like,
Yeah.
I like how Memphis is constructed. I think they're just one piece away.
One piece away, man. Sometimes it's the nature of this game. One piece away, man. All right. Kind of a side note here. Talk about one more thing before we get out of here. JJ Redick had an interesting piece the other day, and he mentioned, how his off seasons were harder than the regular season. And this is his exact quote. He was on another podcast. He said, "My off seasons were harder than the seasons, bro. And that's a big reason I retired, because I couldn't do another fucking off season. Like, my off seasons were 6 days a week, 2 or 3 workouts a day, Saturdays off, Sundays make 342 shots exactly every Sunday, every off season for the last 13 years. I knew exactly what I was getting for breakfast. I knew when I was going to the gym. I knew exactly how many minutes I was going to get in the hot tub before I got on the training table." Is that how the off seasons are, bro? Would you say your off seasons are harder than your regular seasons?
I think so for sure. I think it's more of a grind, bro. Because you're not really trying to take a lot of off days off, or like a lot of like rest days. You're going to the gym 2-3 times a day. The workouts, you're pushing your body to the extreme limits. Trying to get in the best shape as possible. And it's just like, I think it's just the repetitiveness of it. Like, it's nothing really new about an off season. Like, you're doing the same routine every day, Monday through Saturday. You're doing the same routine. You're gonna do this, and this, and then next day is gonna be the exact same. This, and this. Next day, exact same. Whereas when you're in the regular season playoffs, like, you're traveling city to city. The workload isn't necessarily as much because you're trying to rest your body for, games and, things like that. You're getting more treatment, you're getting more massages. So I agree, man. I think the off seasons are way harder. I think
the regular season longer,
I think it's different though. I think the off seasons are physically more harder, where the seasons are more mentally draining. So I think it's a little bit different in terms of which is which.
So you say physically for off season, right? Just because you're going multiple days, multiple times in a day, and it's consistent. The workout's the same, but you said mentally it was different. Why is that?
I think mentally, just you're on the road, you're away from your family, sometimes whether you're not playing well or your team's going through a little slump. Like, it's just a lot of factors that you get sick of your teammate around this time. Everybody gets sick. Everybody gets sick of being around the same people. So I think, mentally it's more of a grind, whereas, and especially in the off season, like, you work out and stuff, but like, it's not like you have to. It's not like you, like, obviously, people want to and stuff, but like, it's not like you need, like, you can move your schedule a little bit here and there, whereas in the regular season, like, you got that set schedule. You got to do this and this at this time. So
be there when it's time. Yep.
Exactly. So I think that's where the mental part comes in, and it's just more mentally draining.
All right, well, good shit, dog. Well, hey, it's a little bit of insight there, and you got to wish my Niners some luck this weekend, man. We got to be talking about them next week as well, too. So
hey, my team's out, so I'm gonna rock with the Niners.
You gotta be an honorary Niner fan, bro. Just in case they playing in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna come down there. Was it Arizona? It's not too far from you, right?
Not far.
Yeah, we might have to do a little Super Bowl run, bro, if it happens. Sure. All right, guys. Well, that does it for this episode of Talk Yo Talk. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe to the page. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Yes, sir.